At the age of 55, the greatest fear is not death itself, but the reality of outliving your money while your health begins to fade. It is now 2026, and the financial landscape has shifted beneath our feet more than most of us care to admit. You have spent 30 or 40 years working hard, paying your bills, and trying to do the right thing for your family. Yet, there is a haunting statistic that we must face today. 75% of people will never reach the threshold of $100,000 in actual, liquid retirement savings. I am not talking about the value of your home or the car in your driveway. I am talking about money you can actually touch. Money that can buy a loaf of bread or pay a medical bill without you having to ask for permission or take on a loan. Many people look financially stable from the outside, but their actual available cash is nearly zero. They are one emergency away from a complete collapse. This video is not about getting rich quickly or chasing the latest speculative trend. This is about the survival point of your financial life. If you are over the age of 55 and you have not reached the $100,000 mark in your investments, you are in the danger zone. But why is this specific number so difficult for 3 out of every 4 people to reach? The truth is that the first $100,000 is the hardest battle you will ever fight, because the math is working against you at the start. In the beginning, your effort is responsible for nearly all the growth. When you have $10,000 and it grows by 7%, you only made $700. That does not feel like progress when the cost of living in 2026 continues to rise. You feel like you are pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill, and every time you stop to breathe, it feels like it might roll back and crush you. Most people give up right here because they do not see the momentum. But once you cross that $100,000 threshold, the game fundamentally changes. At that point, the boulder reaches the top of the hill and starts to roll down the other side. The momentum of interest begins to do more work than your own physical labor. If you have $100,000 invested in a basic index fund, a typical market return could add $7,000 or $8,000 to your balance in a single year without you lifting a finger. That is equivalent to a significant monthly paycheck that arrives while you sleep. This is why the gap between the wealthy and the struggling is so vast. One group is working for money, while the other group has reached the point where their money is working for them. So, what is stopping 75% of the population from reaching this sanctuary? The first and most dangerous trap is what we call lifestyle creep. As you move through your career and your income increased, your expenses likely rose to match it. You moved into a slightly larger house, you subscribed to more services, and you began eating at nicer restaurants. You felt that you deserved these things because of how hard you were working. But this is a treadmill that speeds up every time you run faster. Every time you get a raise or a bonus, the system is designed to take it back from you before you can save it. In 2026, the invisible chains of modern living are heavier than ever. The second trap is the payments mentality. This is the silent killer of the middle class. Most people no longer ask what a car costs. They only ask what the monthly payment is. When you think in terms of payments, you lose sight of the total cost and the interest that is draining your future. That $60,000 truck or luxury SUV feels affordable because it is only $800 a month. But that $800 is $800 that is not compounding in your retirement account. Over 10 years, that single car payment could have been the difference between reaching $100,000 or staying at zero. You are essentially trading your freedom in your 60s for the smell of new leather in your 50s. The third trap is the ghost of inflation. In 2026, your savings account is not a safe place. If your money is just sitting in a traditional bank earning almost no interest, you are losing purchasing power every single day. The safe path has become the most risky path. Many people in their 50s are paralyzed by the fear of a market crash, so they keep their money in cash. They think they are being careful, but they are actually guaranteeing that their wealth will shrink. You cannot save your way to security in this economy. You must invest your way there. The fourth trap is the transition from buying things to buying time. Most people spend their lives collecting liabilities that they think are assets. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket every month, like a boat, a second home that sits empty, or high-end electronics. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. Wealthy people buy assets first and use the income from those assets to buy their luxuries. The struggling 75% do the exact opposite. They buy luxuries to feel successful today, which ensures they will be dependent on a paycheck for the rest of their lives. For those of you who are 55 or older and feeling behind, I want you to listen closely. It is not too late, but your strategy must change. You no longer have 40 years of time to wait for a slow crawl. You must become aggressive about widening the gap between what you earn and what you spend. The first step is a radical audit of your debt. Any debt with an interest rate higher than 7% is a fire that is burning down your house. You cannot out-invest a 20% interest rate on a credit card. You must extinguish those fires immediately. The second step is to utilize the catch-up contributions allowed by the government for those over 50. This is one of the few advantages you have at this age. You can put more money into your tax-advantaged accounts than younger people can. This is the time to maximize those contributions and lower your tax bill at the same time. The third step is to simplify your investments. Do not listen to the noise of people trying to sell you complex hedge funds or the latest digital currency. The most successful investors in history reach their goals using simple, low-cost index funds that track the total stock market. These funds allow you to own a small piece of the most successful companies in the world. As they grow, you grow. The fourth step is the most difficult psychological shift. You must learn to live as if you make half of your current income. I know this sounds extreme, especially in 2026 with the current cost of groceries and housing. But if you can commit to this for even 3 to 5 years, you will be shocked at how quickly you can cross the $100,000 line. Once you reach that line, the fear begins to lift. You start to see that you are no longer a prisoner of your job. You have created a buffer that protects you from the unexpected turns of life. This is about more than just numbers on a screen. This is about your dignity. It is about being the person who can help your children and grandchildren because you are on solid ground. It is about not having to choose between a repair for your home and the medication you need. The path to $100,000 is boring, repetitive, and requires a level of discipline that most people simply refuse to exercise. But the reward is a peace of mind that cannot be bought at any price. You are building a legacy of self-reliance. You are proving that it is possible to break the cycle that keeps 75% of the population in a state of constant anxiety. As we move further into 2026, the divide between those who are prepared and those who are not will only grow wider. Decide today which side of that line you want to be on. Stop looking at what your neighbors are doing. They are likely part of the 75% who are struggling behind closed doors. Focus on your own foundation. Plant the seeds now so that you can sit in the shade later. The journey to the first $100,000 is a test of character. It will require you to say no to things you want now so you can have things you need later. But I promise you, when you see that balance cross into 6 figures for the first time, you will feel a weight lift off your shoulders that you did not even know you were carrying. You will realize that for the first time in your life, you are truly in control. Your future self is counting on you to make the hard choices today. Do not let them down. The time for excuses is over. The time for action is now. Take the first step toward your $100,000 sanctuary. You have worked too hard for too many years to end up with nothing. Claim your independence. Build your legacy. And finally, breathe. Because once you reach that milestone, you are no longer just surviving. You are finally starting to build real wealth. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you found value in this perspective, please share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. There are too many people in our age group who feel lost and alone in this struggle. Let them know there is a way out. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep moving forward. The goal is closer than you think. Goodbye for now.